Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, while much of the world was watching the satellite imagery over the Bahamas yesterday as Hurricane Dorian stalled out and just sat for 30 hours over the Grand Island there, the western United States saw a very beautiful Labor Day. And what you're looking at here is just a satellite animation, visible satellite animation from Monday, right as the sun was setting. There was a couple things I wanted to point out here. Just as the sun was setting, we can see some of the fires here in parts of the Rocky Mountains, north of the Sawtooth here, north of Payette Mountains, right in this area. You can see some of the smoke and also some fires that were in parts of Oregon, eastern Oregon. What are we watching over the next 48 hours? Well, we're going to watch this. This is our high-resolution rapid refresh model giving us a 48-hour forecast of vertically integrated smoke. So we can see those fires in parts of Oregon, also parts of Idaho, as well as Wyoming and Montana. Now, comparatively, so to understand the difference between what you're seeing here and what I've seen in recent, late summers, early falls, this looks phenomenal. This is such a far cry from what we saw, like, for example, in 2017. But it's just something to be on the lookout for in terms of the degradation of air quality here in the next 48 hours or so. Turning our attention now to the latest drought monitor update, we've not seen much change at all in the Pacific Northwest. We weren't expecting much. California is still remaining largely drought-free. And what we see down here in parts of Arizona and New Mexico, this is primarily due to the fact we've seen a reduction in the strength of our monsoon. So now we're getting the first couple of stages of drought showing up there. Over the last week, we did get quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm activity midweek last week through parts of the Pacific Northwest, but just over the last couple of days, over this weekend, we did see some storms over the weekend and early this week, some storms over Southern California and Arizona, bringing in some locally heavy rainfall amounts. So at least that's what we looked at in the last 7 days. But to do our normal check-in on reservoir health, this is showing that through September 1st, much of the reservoirs compared to average still doing very, very well in California. In fact, this is the best I've seen it, honestly, I feel like since I've been forecasting weather across the western United States. And just for a better resource here in the Pacific Northwest, you can check out the Hydromet teacup diagrams. I put the link here at the very top of this page. Pause the video, type this into your browser, and check this out. It's an outstanding resource. I'll just take you in here to Yakima and just to show you what some of the teacup diagrams look like. So you can see Cle Elum here at 7% full. We do see some of our larger reservoirs across the Pacific Northwest showing up on the low side, and it's something just to keep a close eye on as we progress through the end of our dry season as rains begin to return once we get into October. So again, check out that website so you can see your nearest reservoir. Now, over the next 15 days, there's some important things going on with the flow of the jet stream in the Pacific that is allowing a more active storm track in through this area. This is showing up in both the European and the GFS model and their ensembles. So we kind of got this corridor in through here of more active storm track and therefore more rainfall. So we better dig right in and figure out what's going on there. First of all, the Pacific Ocean is largely unblocked. You can see we have pretty strong flow that's moving through the Pacific. There's actually a deeper trough, a set of deeper troughs coming into the Pacific Northwest, one into California. And this toward the middle of this week could be bringing in some widely scattered showers and storms through this area, moving up through Northern California, but really getting into Oregon, Idaho, southern Washington state before developing into much larger systems that run across the U.S.-Canadian border. So when we see this kind of flow pattern, just so you know, the stronger these winds are out here, this tends to give us more often than not troughing that kind of dips into the western part of the United States. We're going to continue to see that. Now, I want to give you that flow pattern from our ensemble models here to see what to expect in the coming days. Certainly over the next few days, temperatures can remain relatively high, but you can now see the broader trough working through the Gulf of Alaska here. And as we get out toward the end of our week and weekend, that trough, so let's just take a look at this one first on Thursday. So you can imagine the flow's coming around like this, which means we're going to get some mountain-induced thunderstorm activity and some flow off the Pacific, which could mean some showers and storms. But the broader trough features are now sweeping through the Gulf of Alaska such that by the weekend, look at this. That's your major pattern change. See it there? So that flow across the Pacific is now digging a trough in the western United States. This is cooler weather as we progress into the weekend and early next week. And the question is, how long does it stick around? Well, this is next Tuesday, the 11th. Got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we really see overall, getting all the way up to the 15th of the month, that the longer range models are picking up on a stronger Pacific flow, and they're picking up on more troughing along the western coast of the United States. So cooler end to our to our summer here as we get into mid-September. At least that's what the latest model projections are showing. In terms of precipitation, this is just running our high-resolution NAM model that'll take us all the way out here to the middle of the day on Thursday. And again, one of the things we see here is, if you just notice, I'll just pause this here so you can see a little bit better. We do see daily under that ridge that's still sitting here. You're going to see this both on Tuesday and on Wednesday. Showers popping up on our mountains. That's very typical for this time of year. Much of that's going to stay to the south. But by the time we get into the Wednesday overnight hours, getting into Thursday morning, see this? This is Wednesday overnight into Thursday morning. Take a look at Northern California, parts of Nevada, and Oregon. Widely scattered, but the model is picking up on some shower activity moving through. Again, this is late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning at that time period here, moving through parts of Northern California and Oregon. That's when that first trough sweeps in. Meanwhile, at this point, Dorian will be pressing toward the coast here for North and South Carolina. So we're going to keep a close eye on that for the East Coast as well. In terms of total accumulated precipitation, take a look at this. I'm just animating for you the national blended model. We do need to see what's coming in later to be bringing in better chances for Idaho and Montana in this forecast. And if you just notice, it seems to be arriving in the first wave on Thursday into Friday. See it there? And then there's a second push right here early next week. See that? That's coming in Monday into Tuesday. So what's going on here? Let's take a look at the GFS model as our main source of information here. So relatively quiet week until we get into, like I said, into that Thursday time frame. So you see right in through here, Thursday afternoon, evening. That's when the first trough sweeps in, bringing in some widely scattered showers and storms in through this area. Now, as we press through, our bigger trough settles in over the weekend. So it's now here, and you can see the low pressure center that it's forecasting to develop that's going to emerge somewhere over the northern Rockies here in parts of Idaho and then press into Montana. So again, I'm looking at for your next weekend here for this active system to move through. And because we get the reestablishment of a trough coming in on the western part of the United States, you can see that as I get you out past Tuesday into Wednesday, another one of these systems comes through. Now, this model doesn't have the details pinned down, but if I could just draw over it for you, you have this coming in Thursday. You have this pulse that's coming in Thursday like this, bringing in some widely scattered showers and storms. You then have the development over the weekend of a storm system coming here and then pushing on off in this direction. So this brings in chances of showers and storms in through here. Our next trough sweeps into the northwest by the time we get into Tuesday, and it kicks off another storm system. So we could be bringing in some coastal precipitation and then a system that comes in this direction. So that's why you saw in the longer range forecast wetter than average conditions on those troughs that keep sweeping into the Pacific Northwest. Okay, so that's your breakdown over the next several days. Your next chances for precip really coming in Wednesday night, Thursday this week, and then it's the weekend and early next week that we're going to keep a close eye on. Now, if we turn our attention over towards temperatures, the month of August overall kept the warmth really to the west of that line. We saw generally 1 to 4 degrees warmer than average conditions, while the northern plains were quite cool. We'll take a look at where we're going in terms of temperatures here. Starting you off in the northwest, this is going to be high temperatures on Tuesday. And let's just see how things progress. Watch this. So we see that Wednesday, high temperatures still staying right around average for this time of year. But as the first trough works its way in, heat out ahead of it on Thursday. Okay, so you see the upper 90s there. But then Friday, Saturday, Sunday really knocking our temperatures back here. And I can even take you out to Monday of next week to show you the cooler weather that's coming with that more established trough. Let's head farther south down to California. We see the heat is still on for today. A lot of upper 90s getting close to the century mark here throughout much of the Central Valley of California. But pressing forward here, this is Tuesday. Now we're going to look at Wednesday. Very warm down here in the south. You can see, the southern part of the Central Valley. But get down here into the desert, we do see a lot of temperatures 105 to 115. But like we just saw, look, this is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So temperatures moderating as we work our way toward the weekend as that general flow pattern changes in the Pacific Northwest and extends down into California. So over our next 5 days, yes, we still carry much of our warmer bias through the western United States, but we now know that days 6 through 10, we start to bring in a slight, it's just ever so slight, just a couple of degrees, a slight cool bias as those troughs work their way in and the ridge broadens over Texas. And even taking out to days 11 through 15, we still don't see the return of any major heat. And overall, if I had to give you a forecast for September based on what we've seen so far, it looks as though much of the western United States is going to avoid prolonged periods of extreme heat as we get into the month of September, which is honestly a very welcomed forecast for the western United States. To finish up, I want to just show you what I've really been focusing on here this week, and that is an analysis of our ocean temperatures. Just a reminder, we still see the fading of the summer's El Nino back to neutral conditions. In fact, we've seen a lot of cooler water emerge here, suggesting we could be going into more La Nina-like behavior with our fall weather. We still do have quite a bit of warm water tucked away in the North Pacific, so this is what we call the positive phase of the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Yet, despite those warmer waters, we're resisting some blocking here in the near term. In other words, the jet stream is still moving in this direction. Just to give you one last piece of information here, we are watching tropical cyclones that are moving up in the western Pacific that could perturb the flow through the jet stream. So we're going to keep a close eye on those, but I'll give you an update later this week about the progression of those systems. With that, I'll go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We want to thank you for your attention. Hope you have a great week this week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.